August 10th, 1921. A 39-year-old man collapses on a small island in Canada. Within days, he's paralyzed from the waist down. His political career? Over. His dreams? Shattered. His future? Non-existent. His own mother told him to retire to the family estate and live quietly as an invalid. That man was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And 12 years later, he became President of the United States during the worst crisis in American history. I screwed up my life by ignoring the principles that great leaders lived by. I let fear control me. I quit when things got hard. I blamed everyone else for my failures. If you're watching this, you're probably going through something tough right now. Maybe you feel defeated. Maybe you think it's too late. It's not. Let's begin.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. March 4th, 1933. Banks are failing. 13 million Americans are unemployed. Families are starving in the streets. The country is on the brink of collapse. And FDR stands before the nation and says, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Not the depression, not poverty, not uncertainty. Fear. Here's what I learned too late. Fear isn't protecting you, it's paralyzing you. When FDR was paralyzed, he could have lived in fear of public humiliation. Instead, he worked for 7 years to learn how to stand with leg braces. He taught himself to walk by swinging his hips, holding a cane in one hand and someone's arm in the other. Why? Because he refused to let fear write his story. I let fear stop me from starting that business, from having that difficult conversation, from taking that risk. And you know what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. And that's the worst outcome of all. Action step. Write down one thing you've been afraid to do. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. And ask yourself, what's the worst that could actually happen? Then, do it anyway.
When you come to the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. FDR's polio wasn't just a setback, it was complete devastation. But here's the truth nobody tells you. That tragedy gave him something he never had before: empathy. Before polio, FDR was a privileged, somewhat arrogant politician. After polio, he understood suffering. He understood what it meant to be powerless, to feel forgotten, to fight just to survive another day. That's why millions of Americans trusted him, because he knew their pain. I used to think my failures were proof I wasn't good enough. My bankruptcy, my divorce, my failures. But those weren't endings. They were education. Every setback in your life is setting you up for something greater, if you're willing to learn from it instead of running from it. FDR didn't waste his suffering. He transformed it into his superpower. Take your biggest failure and write down 3 lessons it taught you. Those lessons are your competitive advantage. We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. Here's what I got wrong for years. I thought optimism meant feeling happy all the time. That's not what FDR practiced. He practiced strategic optimism. He chose to focus on possibilities, not problems. During the Great Depression, he started his fireside chats, radio broadcasts where he spoke directly to the American people, not with false promises, but with honest hope. He acknowledged the pain. Then he painted a vision of what was possible. Pessimism is easy. Anyone can complain. Anyone can see what's wrong. But optimism? That takes courage. It takes discipline.
When I was at my lowest, I surrounded myself with negative people. We competed to see who had it worse. And guess what? We all stayed stuck. FDR surrounded himself with action takers and problem solvers. He asked, "What can we do?" Not, "Why can't we?" For the next 24 hours, catch yourself every time you complain or think negatively. Replace it with, "What's one thing I can do about this?"
Do something. If it works, do more of it. If it doesn't, do something else. The New Deal wasn't perfect. Some programs failed. Some were criticized. But FDR didn't wait for the perfect plan. He took massive, imperfect action. This is where I wasted years of my life, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect circumstances. You know what I learned? Perfect never comes. FDR launched program after program, CCC, WPA, Social Security. Some worked, some didn't, but he kept moving because motion creates momentum, and momentum creates breakthroughs. I stayed stuck because I was afraid of looking stupid, of failing publicly, of getting it wrong. But FDR got it wrong all the time, and he still changed the world. Action step. Start that project you've been planning. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be started today.
The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have little. FDR had every privilege in life: money, education, connections. But it was crisis that revealed his true character. When he could have retreated into comfort, he chose service. When he could have protected his wealth, he fought for the forgotten man. Here's the hard truth. You don't know who you are until you're tested. I thought I was strong. I thought I was resilient. But when life knocked me down, I crumbled. Because I had never built my character in the small moments. FDR spent 7 years learning to stand again. 7 years of private humiliation, pain, and struggle. That's where his character was forged. Your crisis isn't destroying you, it's revealing you and giving you a chance to rebuild yourself stronger. Do one hard thing today that scares you. Wake up earlier. Have that difficult conversation. Face that uncomfortable truth. Character is built one choice at a time.
It is common sense to take a method and try it. If it fails, admit it frankly and try another. FDR became president during the worst economic crisis in history. Then, 8 years later, he had to lead America into the worst war in history. 2 completely different challenges, 2 completely different approaches. He adapted. I stayed rigid. I clung to what worked before, even when it stopped working. I blamed the market, the economy, other people. FDR blamed no one. He just adapted. He was willing to abandon his old strategies, his old beliefs, his old methods. Because survival and success requires evolution. The world is changing faster than ever. The strategies that worked 5 years ago don't work today. Are you adapting, or are you going extinct? Identify one area of your life where you're stuck using an outdated strategy. What would you do differently if you started fresh today?
Franklin Delano Roosevelt wasn't perfect. He made mistakes. He had flaws. He faced criticism. But he refused to let his circumstances define his destiny. At 39, paralyzed and counted out, he could have given up. Instead, he became one of the greatest leaders in human history. Here's what I wish someone had told me 10 years ago. Your past doesn't determine your future. Your failures don't define your potential. Your setbacks are setting you up for something greater. But you have to make a choice. You can stay stuck in fear, blame, and regret, Or you can do what FDR did. Stand up, take action, adapt, serve something bigger than yourself. I screwed up my life by ignoring these principles. Don't make my mistake. Your comeback starts now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Now. Because as FDR proved, it's never too late to become who you were meant to be. If this video hit you, hit that like button, subscribe for more life-changing content, and drop a comment below. Which of these laws do you need to apply today? I'll see you in the next one. Now go do something that scares you.